Hey guys, good morning. It's about 10:42 a.m. Pacific time on this Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. It is a crisp 47 degree, not 47, but 57 degrees outside under partly cloudy skies. And guys, before I get into the topic of this video, I want you to all do me a solid favor if you can, and that's subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, also like the video, share the video, as well as click on the link in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me at all your favorite audio video podcast affiliates like Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Audible, Radio Public, Pandora, to an extent SiriusXM, and many other places. Wherever there's a podcast to be found, you will probably find mine there as well. Also, support me over at patreon.com at BWRoses. I have some plans there for the future. I think you might like them, but I'll let you know in due time. Also, support me over at Venmo and Cash App during this time if you can. Any amount would help. I really would appreciate it. Also, support me. Also, go and click on the top link to my Fourth Wall store. I only have one piece of merchandise up right now, but there will be more to come in the future. And also click on the bottom to the OG Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. But with that said, guys, let's get on to the topic at hand here. And as we know yesterday, and let me get some coffee here for a second, guys. Hold on for a sec. Let me get some coffee before I start. That's better. A little Starbucks Pike Place, if you will. But as I was saying, as we know yesterday, and I'm sure if you go across the internet, you go across here on YouTube, you go to the various podcast affiliates that I'm a part of, and all that, even Rumble and Odyssey and Vimeo, I should say, that I'm a part of as well. I'm sure that the one top video or top discussion podcast audio-wise, or even video, that you've been hearing about, or looking, or being recommended to, via the analytics of all these places. One of the top videos is basically about Windows 10, coming to an end yesterday on October 14th. Microsoft basically ending support for it, after a decade and a half use, or a decade and 4 months use. But the obvious question, why would they end support? Well, technically, they're not ending support. I mean, there are various ways through Microsoft that you can continue getting it. You can get it for, a variety of points. If you got like 1,000 points, I think, and everything, and your computer is, I guess your computer has the message on there, or, has the link or whatever it is. You can get, extended support through the, the IOL or IoT Enterprise or whatever it is. You can get support for about a year for free, through points and everything. And again, if you have that, shot, or that, I guess, file or whatever it is on your computer. Now you could still get it for free as well. You could still get it as, for free as well, without having to do that with your account. If you have a Microsoft Online account, then you can do that. Now you can also, if you don't have a Microsoft Online account and it's local, you can pay about $30 to get 1 year extension. Now I know people might say, well, what's the point of, excuse me, hold on, I'm getting tongue-tied here, guys. Sorry about that, almost got tongue-tied. Now, again, I was saying, people might ask, well, what's the point of paying $30 for a year-long support, or extra year of support, if it's just going to come to an end? Well, that's the catch. That's the catch. According to some, that's exactly what, Microsoft is saying. You're going to get 1 more year of support. Well, others have come out and said that that's not exactly true, that you can get about 6 years of support, but I think you got to go the pro route or the business route or something like that. You got to use the business option of extension to get about 6 years. That's at least what I'm getting at, or getting, pretty much an idea of from what I've seen. But yeah, you can still keep it, but like I said, if you're a home user and you get the home edition, and stuff like that, you're probably going to get another year if you go one of those routes. But if you want to try to keep it for another, let's say, half a decade, then you're going to have to go the business route with, various means. There are means of doing it. You just got to look on your computer. If you have it on your computer already, then you should be okay, I guess. I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert. Let me tell you that right. Let me tell you that right now. I'm not an expert, but you should be able to, at least, in my opinion, get. I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way before I get tongue-tied again. Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. There's various videos out there that kind of explain it a lot better than I will. Okay. But anyway, the point is, depending on how you do it, you're going to get about a year, maybe a little bit more of security updates, from Microsoft for Windows 10. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. But again, I know some of you might say, well, what's the point of paying $30 a year or $60 a year if you're a business outlet to basically basically get that security update to continue for Windows 10. What's the point if they're eventually just gonna, pull the plug, if you will? What's the point? And that's a good question. That is a good question. And my honest opinion is your only choice would be is to maybe take a chance and download Windows 11 and hope for the best, or do what other people have said and just go to Linux. Just go to Linux. Go to that software, or basically install that software, and you should be good to go. But the obvious question is, why is Microsoft doing this? Why are they pushing people to go to Windows 11, especially with the update they put out recently, basically the same day that Microsoft 10 support ended, and that is basically Windows 11, that now you need to use an online account, a Microsoft online account only to log in. Like even if you have 11 and you used to be able to do local accounts, now you got to do the online account only. Why are they doing this? Why is Microsoft doing this? And to me, I think there's an obvious reason, in my opinion. There's an obvious reason, in my opinion, why Microsoft is doing this. In my opinion, this is just me, but in my opinion, I feel the reason Microsoft is doing this is the same reason that they're raising prices on the Xbox Series X consoles, or the Xbox Series, the new generation of Xbox consoles, if you will. There's a reason, and that is something they're not going to tell you. But I'm sure a lot of you, maybe some of you that already did videos on this, but some of you that haven't, but you're probably thinking this is the only, this would be the only reason. And it might be true, even though they won't come out and say it themselves. But I think and believe the reason Microsoft is doing all this, pushing Windows 11 despite the ads, ad complaint and all that, and and the spyware and the Copilot and all that stuff. The reason they're doing it is the same reason, like I said, they're raising prices on the current Xbox consoles. And that reason is because they're basically low on finances. In other words, they're close to debt. Now, they're not going to come out and say that. And like I said, a lot of people here on YouTube and various other places that I'm a part of probably have come to that conclusion themselves. But, what other answer is there, except maybe they're greedy? Yeah, that's a strong case too. That's a strong reasoning too. But outside of that, what other, answer or what other possibility could there be? I mean, think about it. Think about it. PlayStation hasn't really raised the prices of the PS5 that much. I mean, yeah, they have, but not really. Nor have they done it with the Pro and all that. Nor are they doing it with the Portal and everything. But again, like I said, they kind of have in the past, but not really. Not like, raising it up to another $100, $200, $150. No. They've raised it to a modest maybe $50 if they need to, if they feel that's necessary, especially with a special edition version of the console, the Portal. They'll raise it to another $100, and that's it. But it's usually between another 50 to maybe $75 at most, from what I can see. And I'm someone that has a PS5. I do. But point I'm getting at is you don't see them doing it that much. Yeah, Nintendo with the Switch 2 is pretty much, being greedy with the pricing of that, but I guarantee you over time that's going to go down because the sales, although they look good at the start, they're going to go down significantly come the holiday. Yeah, now you might say, well, the holiday season, oh, please, Brian, those are going to go up. Yeah, they might go up, but they won't go up to the point, like I said, they won't go up to the point that Nintendo is hoping for during the holiday season. If anything, not Microsoft, but Sony's PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation Pro, or PlayStation 5 Pro, I think there's a Pro. Yeah, there is a Pro, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But the PlayStation 5 variety of consoles and the Portal extension and the VR2, those are going to outsell Nintendo Switch or the Switch 2, and they're going to outsell the current Xbox series of consoles, all because Sony understands it's about the consumer first and not us. They have that understanding, thank God. But the point is, like I said, I believe the reason Microsoft's doing all this is because they're basically low on finances. And again, it could be the whole, oh, they're just greedy and they just want to make all the money in the world and da. They want to be numero uno when it comes to financial success. And that's probably true too, but to me, I think it has to be the first option. Because when you really think about Microsoft here, have they ever in the past, in the past few years, have they ever decided, let's raise up prices of our Xbox One consoles, let's raise up prices of the Series X consoles, or the Xbox Series consoles? Did they ever think about that? No, they didn't think about it till recently. And the same with Windows 11. Did they ever come out and stop pushing Windows 11 more so than they are now? No. Yeah, they let you know once in a while that, hey, this is what's going on, you need to look into it. But they never would push it as frequently as they are doing now. And I know some people will come out, as I've alluded to in the audio, live stream, and on-screen videos about me losing my job and all that. And yeah, as I said there, people will, because of the slow productivity there, people will blame the tariffs and all that. And the same here. People will blame the fact that a lot of this is happening because of the tariffs. And look, you have a right to feel that way. But Microsoft, the main headquarters, in case you guys don't know, is located in Washington, in the state of Washington, the Seattle area. Yeah, they're located in that area. So it's not something out of country, if you. I mean, yeah, the consoles get developed out of country. Don't get me wrong. The parts that are needed to get created out of country. Don't get me wrong. But the point I'm getting at is it's not always the tariffs. All right. It's not always going to be something that, as simple or as, controversial as tariffs, okay? It's sometimes just basically companies that are either, as I said, could potentially be greedy. They just want more money. They want to be the number one numero uno financial corporation in the world. Or it could be, as I believe, and I'm sure others believe, the fact that Microsoft is basically running low on finances. And I can't think of any other reason. Yeah, the greed part is a potentiality is what I'm trying to say. But to me, I think it's got to be the other option. It's got to be the fact that they're low on finances. They're losing financial support. The stock in the Dow Jones in the marketplace, in NASDAQ, if you will, is probably going down a lot more instead of up. And here's the other thing too. Some people have shown on the various YouTube videos that have been done on this whole Windows 10 having support ended yesterday. Some of them are even popping up charts that show Windows 10 and Windows 7, believe it or not, are still in the top two, if you will, of being utilized by homes, by educational institutes, by businesses. They're still in the top two, where Windows 11 is a very, very, very deep at the bottom barrel third. And here's the thing, Microsoft, and obviously, here's the thing, Microsoft knows that. There's no doubt Microsoft has to know that. They just don't, but they just don't want to admit it. They just don't want to admit it because it's going to make them look bad. Because if they come out and say, yeah, you're right about Windows 11, and obviously we were wrong, it's going to make them look, it's going to basically make them look humbled and humiliated, and they don't want that. It's going to make the competitors like Linux, which, by the way, a lot of people are being advised in some of these videos to switch over to avoid the Windows 11 deal. It's going to make, Linux and any other software similar to them in, Windows look a lot better than Microsoft, make it look a lot better than Windows 11, I should say. So here's the thing in closing. In my opinion, Microsoft knows that Windows 11 is not doing well, and they also know but they're not going to admit it, that they are basically low on finances. They are financially struggling, Although it may not look like it from our point of view, eternally, in my opinion, that's what's going on, and that's the reasoning for the raising of prices and the pushing of pushing of Windows 11, and like I said, the raising of prices like the Xbox series, the series of consoles. So I think they know that. They're just not going to come out and admit it, because again, if they do, it makes them look humble. It makes them look humiliated, and basically proving everybody that was right about them and maybe what's been going on eternally correct. And they don't want that. They don't want that. And the other reason they should know people don't like Windows 11 is not just home users, but it's people like you know there's people like those that work in businesses, educational institutes and all that, corporations. The reason they don't like it is due to the fact that it's constantly, according to what some people say, it's constantly spying on you. It's using Copilot and everything to spy on you. And that it's always that even though you think your computer's off, it's not technically off, because if it has Windows 11, it'll find a way to still, look at you. And look, we all know that Microsoft has always done that, to an extent. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. At night when I'm resting, and even during the day, my Xbox One S, will come on, and I don't even have it on, but it will come on because it's downloading updates. And how do I know this? Because I have an Xbox flash drive, an Xbox 360 flash drive attached to the back, so I can access my Xbox 360 games and all that, and my Xbox 360 games, and basically, that when I hear, and that basically the little the end of the flash drive there, that'll constantly go on. That'll constantly turn green. And of course, it'll turn green because I'll hear the console go on, because Microsoft is updating. Microsoft is updating, the software, as well as trying to basically, I guess, gather information to see what games and things they can offer me when I turn my system back on. But again, we have to understand that Microsoft has always done this. They've even done it with Windows 10. They've even done it with Windows 7. Heck, this is one of the reasons Windows 8 or 8.1 pretty much got the kibosh when it came out, because pretty much people saw this too. And yeah, it was a broken server. It was a broken software server, but still, the point is Microsoft has been always known for this. And what's going to happen is history is going to repeat itself. History is going to repeat itself, and Microsoft basically is going to have no one but themselves to blame for what's going on, because here's the thing: you think the criticism and the disdain for Windows 11 right now, not right now, well, yeah, right now, but do you think it? I'm trying to find the right words to say, guys. I do apologize, but what I'm trying to say is, if you think the disdain people have had for Windows 11 in the past, if not currently right now, is bad, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to get out of my. Those are the words I'm trying to get out of my mouth. But if you think it's bad now, bad then and now, just wait. Just wait. I guarantee you, within the next year, maybe even less than the next year, Microsoft is going to get hit with so much criticism, so much controversy, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the president himself steps in, and Microsoft will have no choice to be like, okay, fine, we'll abolish Windows 11, or okay, fine, we still want to keep Windows 11 around, but we'll fix it. No more spying, no more this, just a nice little server, and oh, by the way, all computers will be compatible no matter how old they are. I guarantee you, if the president himself, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, if he has to step in and say, Microsoft, enough with your greed, enough with this, enough trying to bully people into this, I guarantee you Microsoft's going to change their tone, and everything I just said they would probably have to announce will probably happen, more than likely. Now, don't mark my words, okay? Don't mark my words on that, but I feel that if they don't change, quickly, if they don't come up with a nice updated idea and announcement before this year's out, basically telling people that, hey, we hear you, we get it, we'll lower the prices on the Xbox One console, on the Xbox Series consoles, Mostly, hey, we'll stop pushing Windows 11, as much, and but we still recommend you do it. But hey, to show you that we're hearing you, we understand you. We'll take out the ads, and we'll just allow it to be a regular server, and we'll also look over a lot of the issues and everything you complained about. If they can make an announcement for that, to where at the beginning of next year they start implementing it, and we see decent results, then fine, they'll be able to save face. But if they don't, like I said, I guarantee you within a year, if not less, they're probably going to end up in so much controversy, so much criticism, that even the president himself is going to step in. I just feel it. I feel it, but like I said, don't mark my words. Don't mark my words on that. But, in conclusion, yeah, Microsoft right now, it's in some deep, it is in some deep, I don't want to say this word, but it's obvious. They are in some deep beep, S-H-I-T. We'll put it that way. They're in some deep beep, S-H-I-T right now. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. It really is. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully you maybe used the live chat to give me your thoughts. And if not, that's fine. Go to the comments. It'd be greatly appreciated if you do that. And also, super thanks are going to be open after this video comes to a conclusion in a little bit. But let me know what your thoughts are on this whole Microsoft situation of ending support for Windows 10, and also raising the prices, ironically, at the same time on the Xbox Series consoles. Do you think maybe I have a point on the fact that they are financially, not doing so well, which is why they're doing all this? Or do you think it's greed? Do you think it just might be plain out greed? Let me know. Love to hear your thoughts. And like I said at the beginning, guys, do me a solid favor. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notification. Like the video. Share the video. And click on the links to help support me elsewhere outside of YouTube. And until next time, guys, again, give me your thoughts. And until then, I am out. Take care. God bless.